Hey guys, Pieguyrulz here, and welcome to the very first of the DuckTales vlogs. I'm going to be reviewing episodes of DuckTales. I'm really excited because DuckTales is a show that, when I was a kid, it aired before my time. Like, it was done airing, I think maybe even before I was born. So, I've only seen bits and pieces of the show here and there. I don't know if I've ever seen a full episode, but I recently got DuckTales Remastered for the Wii U, and it kind of sparked my interest again because I've heard a lot of great things about this show, and I found the DVDs at Barnes & Noble for, I think, $15. So I figured, hey, why not just go for it? And I have seen the first season here, and I've been pretty impressed, to be honest. So I thought this would be a good show to kind of talk about here. As far as spoilers go, I'm going to try to avoid them for this one because these, unlike the other shows I'm vlogging, these aren't necessarily easy to find. You got to find the DVDs. I don't think there's any legal way to watch them online. You could probably, actually, this is probably on iTunes, but regardless, I'll be avoiding spoilers. But if I do want to talk about a spoilery thing, I'll mention, hey, spoiler alert. And I won't do it after I mention the spoilery thing. But anyway, for some reason, the first DVD set does not contain the original pilot movie, the 5-parter. That's the second DVD set for some reason. So I won't be talking about that right now. Maybe later down the road, but for right now, we're going to start with episode 1, episode 1, Send in the Clones. So in this episode, Magica frees the Beagle Boys, 3 of them, and has them turn into Huey, Dewey, and Louie and infiltrate Scrooge's mansion to try and steal his #1 dime, because the #1 dime, for some reason, is, like, magical. I don't really buy it as a MacGuffin. It really doesn't matter, per se, except for, one thing at the end, that it is a dime. It could have very well been just some magical artifact, but I guess it makes sense because of the whole theme of money, but I don't know. Magica explains it as that, like, all of Scrooge's good decisions started with this dime, and therefore it has some magical properties. Scrooge doesn't even really believe in it, to be honest. So, I don't know, but that's nitpicking. How was the episode? It's pretty good. It's not that strong for a, first episode. Coming right off the movie, for a first regular episode, this one isn't quite what I would expect. We spend a lot of time focusing on the villains, and, like, Huey, Dewey, and Louie are out for, the first half of the episode. Scrooge isn't even really the main focus. We don't get to see, like, Launchpad or Gyro or, any of the side characters, really. It does really focus on the villains for quite a large amount, and that's not too bad considering we want to kind of set them up a lot in this episode, but it is a bit strange. And then you've got the whole, misunderstanding thing where the Beagle Boys are impersonating Huey, Dewey, and Louie, Magica's impersonating Mrs. Beakley, and then, of course, Huey, Dewey, and Louie come back from their movie, and Mrs. Beakley's there, and so there's 2 sets of them, and, there's a reporter coming to see Scrooge's family, and, of course, half of Scrooge's family are imposters that are acting really rude, and, so it's kind of your misunderstanding plot. And it's not a bad one at that. It's like, I don't know. It doesn't have the adventure element that a lot of the episodes have, and it doesn't quite, it doesn't, I don't know. It's not that memorable, to be honest. I wouldn't, nothing particularly bad about it. It feels a little bit on the cliche side, and a little bit on the, take it or leave it side. But it's not bad, and I have a few things to say about the series in general, and, that starts with this episode, obviously, if this is the first episode I saw. So the music in this show, and a lot in this episode, I feel like in this episode, they hadn't quite got down when to put in music and when not to put in music, because a lot of this episode has background music, and the music on this show is fantastic. It's cinematic. That's the best way to explain it. It's really epic and grandiose, and that works for a lot of the episodes, but in this one, we're not, nothing, that amazing happens. Like, there's the transformations and stuff, but, like, they're not traveling to some crazy land or whatever. That big musical score kind of seems a little bit lost here. It seems like it's trying to add too much whimsy to something that just doesn't have that much. you know, and there's nothing, again, there's nothing wrong with the episode, and there's nothing wrong with the soundtrack. I just feel like they didn't quite meet at the right point in this episode. I feel like there was a little bit too much of that awesome background music, but it took away from the story because it was, you know, trying to emphasize something that wasn't there. It's also a little bit weird that Scrooge has this huge mansion and Huey, Dewey, and Louie have to share a tiny room. Like, I get that it's economic for plot purposes, and also, for all intents and purposes, Huey, Dewey, and Louie are pretty much the same character. I'm gonna be paying close attention to this as I watch the season, but, like, at least in this episode, you can't tell the difference. They're voiced by the same person. There's no deviation in the voices. And as far as I can tell, personality-wise, they're the same. It's hard to keep track of, though. They could be different, and it could be just really hard to notice. But anyway, I thought that was funny. Also, the boys are really late coming back from the movie here. They promised Scrooge they'd be back for the reporter, but they end up being much later than that. And my favorite quote, like this is one of my new favorite quotes just of all time. I think, you know, if I have to put down like a famous quote on something, like on a yearbook or something, I'm definitely gonna put this quote. It's, I didn't get rich by being stupid. And wow, that was a bad impression. But it's, I didn't get rich by being stupid, Scrooge. And it's just like, yeah, no, that's a good point. Like, I really like Scrooge's characterization. He's not like he gives the boys money. You know, he's not like such a miser. He's not like Ebenezer Scrooge. He's not a miser. He's just really good with money. And he likes his money. And there's nothing wrong with that. Unless you're in, you know, America's economy today. Then there might be something wrong with hoarding all that money. But aside from that, you know, he's a pretty lovable character. And, you know, I look forward to more of the episodes where he gets a lot more of the focus. Because, like I said, we see a lot of the Beagle Boys here. A lot of the Beagle Boys impersonating Huey, Dewey, and Louie. And not so much everything else, but you know, it's not bad. We see, you know, it's a nice kind of introduction to Magica. I don't know if she appears in the movie, and kind of the Beagle Boys too. So yeah, all in all, I think it's a pretty middle of the road episode. But man, I'm definitely looking forward to seeing more of this. Like I said, I've seen most of the first season, but I haven't seen all of it recently, and you know, I've only seen them once at that. I'm excited to rewatch. And the animation, amazing. Like, man, I miss this kind of animation. I really do. But holy cow, is it good here? Remember, this is an 80s show, like late 80s, but still 80s. I mean, it's got the Disney magic. Like, you can tell from the soundtrack to the animation to the characters, you can tell that there was a lot of love and heart put into this show. And yeah, and I'm excited to explore it. I hope you guys will take the journey with me. Pieguyrulz, out. Oh, and one more thing. I'm pretty sure the Emperor's New Groove stole the climax from this episode. There's people throwing potions at each other to turn them into animals, an evil witch. It reminds me a lot of the Emperor's New Groove. And hey, Disney's been known to recycle some things from time to time. Just saying. Pieguyrulz, out.